Okay, first I want to start off this video by saying my condolences to everyone and anyone listening who has lost their father, especially if you've lost your father this year, January through May, and this Father's Day in June 2024 will be your first Father's Day without your dad. I want to say my condolences, and I understand, so I can have complete sympathy, empathy for what you're feeling right now. Dad is not here. Dad is gone to the other side, and this will be your first Father's Day without your dad. It's a tough process, and I lost my dad in May 2019. So it's been 5 years now. 5 years. My first Father's Day without my dad was May 2020. So now this is my fifth Father's Day without my dad, 2020 through 2024. And in the beginning, it was tough not having your dad around, not having your father. And then you see things that remind you of him. My dad was an alpha, Alpha Phi Alpha. So you see other alphas doing fraternity outings, fraternity gatherings, wherever they may be at. And then, that'll remind you of him. That will remind me of him. And so, time makes it easier. You never get over it completely. I don't think anybody completely gets over losing a parent. Time helps, time heals. It's been 5 years now. And so things have gotten better. One of his fraternity brothers told me at his repast, he told me about when his father died. He said to keep his voice. And you can do that for mom and dad when they go to the other side. Keep their voice. He actually had recorded his dad speaking about some things. I never recorded my dad, but his voice still plays if you call his cell phone. I still have his cell phone number in my phone. Or even if, you have family videos of your dad, recorded. We don't do that as much now. People will, I've seen, pull out their cell phones and record, maybe a minute or a minute and a half of what's going on, of the events where they're at. They'll do that. But other than that, we don't have full family videos. My dad used to have a camcorder that he would sit on his shoulder and he will record for a good 40 minutes, go up to the grandparents if it was their birthday and tell them to say hi to the camera, record the children running around, record the food, and he would narrate the whole video in maybe 40 minutes, and then he'll add the next family event onto that video till he gets like a whole movie length long of family events and can just play it at the next family event so everybody can look back and see who was there. If you missed that event, you can see what was going on. It was on a VHS tape, like a VCR tape, the type of camcorder he had. And so, you don't see camcorders like that anymore. People walking around and recording a full event. Like I said, they'll pull out their phone for a minute, 2 minutes, then put it on the internet, and that's it. And so you don't really have a whole entire view of what actually went on at that event. So that's where we're at now. And so that's what my dad used to do, when he was still here, recording family events. And so if you have old recorded events of your dad that you can look back on during this Father's Day, especially, like I said, if this is your first Father's Day without your dad passed earlier this year, it's something to kind of console you just so you keep the memories, and it's going to be tough adjusting to life without one of your parents. And I'm sure it's even tougher once both parents are gone. I still have my mom, but dad is gone. So yeah, that's been 5 years. And I can only imagine the fathers that are still here, but for whatever reason, they not with their child. Now that could be incarceration, they're in jail, or someone who's ran out on their family. And I'm speaking to those guys who have ran out and you just totally abandoned your child. Get back in their life. Do your best to get back in their life. I don't know why you ran out. I don't know if something is keeping you away, but get back into your child's life. It affects them psychologically, especially if they're seeing their cousins and they see their uncle, which is their cousin's father, and he's around, or they see their friends and their dad around, and then they notice there's something missing with them. And then they start to develop questions in their head about why dad isn't around. Does dad not like me? Does dad not want me? And hopefully that's not the case. They get back in their lives, it affects their upbringing. The fathers are needed if you are not around in your child's life at this moment. Come back in. If you're in jail, when you come home, get back in their life. Hopefully your sentence isn't too long. Maybe if it's 10 years, 15 years. Once you come out, get back into your child's life. Try and reconnect those dots. That's a lot of missing time. The fathers are needed. And there's people growing up today without their dad. And mothers don't badmouth dad in front of the kids. Let them make their own decision about him once they get of age, if he's not around. And if he's chosen and you're not keeping him from being around, if he's chosen to not do that, the child is going to be able to make that decision and piece all the dots together about why dad didn't want to be around the family for whatever reason. And it's not the child's fault at all. Always let your child know that it's not their fault if they're without a father. There's something else going on between mom and him, or if it's just him and he's decided to alienate himself. But it definitely affects the child, I think, on a mental level with dad not being there, and they start to ask questions. And it affects your development, daughter's upbringing, son's upbringing. You need the father. And again, to everybody whose dad is not there because he's passed on to the other side, stay strong. Look at something that reminds you of your dad this Father's Day. And if you are a father and you don't have your father, then you know how important it is to be in your child's life and sticking around, regardless if you're still with mom or not. That's neither here nor there. Focus is now you being a father and raising your daughter, your son to where they need to be. Too many children out here without a father. So we have to change that dynamic, change that paradigm, that way we're thinking. We can't just push dad off to the side. You need your dad. You need your dad. I was lucky enough to grow up with my dad, so I wasn't feeling any type of absence. We went to sports games, Sox games, Bulls games, Bears games here in Chicago, and so I got that. But there's so many other children that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 teenagers that don't have a relationship with their dad for whatever reason. They are without a father. And so Father's Day hits different. It could be sadness, resentment, anger, a lot of different emotions. And I hear a lot of dads talking about how it's not a lot of celebration for Father's Day. You see it in the stores, you see it in Walmart in terms of the balloons and the cards for mom. It's Father's Day cards are there, but it's not the same. And I think that's just going by just history and dads not being there. It's reflected even in popular culture. And so that can be changed too. It's going to take some time. Won't happen with this generation, but it will take probably Generation Z, Generation Alpha, which comes after them, to really have some present fathers 20, 30 years from now to really change that narrative, that story of dad just not having the same value as mom. Both parents are equal, but we see mom put on a higher pedestal. Then you got the old saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. We have to cut that out. No more maybe daddy. We need to know who it is and build that solid foundation as a family. So Father's Day without a father, it's all too common. And it's not just because fathers pass away. There's plenty of fathers still alive and they are separated from their kids for whatever reason. And we have to, correct this. It can't continue to go on. You see different statistics out here with fatherless homes and upbringing of the child. You need that masculine and feminine energy. You've seen mothers by themselves raise the children and they be responsible adults, but it's still something missing. It's single fathers out here where the mother isn't present as well. Still need that feminine energy. That's how this works, the yin and the yang. But back to the fathers, since that's majority of what's missing when you come to the parental relationship, get back in your child's life. If you're in jail, when you come home, stay out of there. You got a child to raise. I know of some fathers who have still back in jail, even though they got a child to live for. So I guess they don't understand the bigger picture. And they really need to be out here with their arms around their kids, not behind some jail cell and their child coming to visit them, mama driving, and you talking to dad on the other side of that window with the phone up to you. That's not going to cut it. So let's change the story, the narrative of Father's Day today, whatever day you're listening to this. It is June. Father's Day is June 16, 2024. And when you hear this, share it. Have the conversation. Let's not do any more Father's Day without a father for those that are going through that. And there are many going through it. To the fathers that are still there, you know what you're doing. You know what to do. Don't give up. Keep pushing. And make your son or your daughter or both responsible human beings as they get older. They are going to need it. If your dad is on the other side, he's passed away, stay strong. Keep your dad's voice. I know it's hard. Time helps. Time heals. It's never going to make it completely 100% better. It can't. Because you're not able to go see your dad, go to the sports game with your dad, go have breakfast with your dad. I know it hurts. Especially if this year you lost your dad. Definitely going to take some adjusting. And so, if your dad is going to have a moment of silence for your dad on Father's Day, on June 16th, have a moment of silence for your dad if he's on the other side. Whether he's passed in 2024 or he's passed 20 years ago. Have another moment of silence. And remember what you and dad used to do together. Definitely help with your healing process, coping with the reality, and then just use that as strength. Turn it into strength. That's the main thing you can do. And all the good fathers out there, positive fathers, keep doing what you're doing. Inspire and set an example for the other fathers that are still trying to get this dad thing in order. Some of them didn't have their father, so they don't know what to do as a father at this point either. So, it's each one teach one. And happy Father's Day. I'm out to the next video. Like, share, and subscribe.